we're going to look at market structures. So when you're dealing with a market, we are looking at a system or an arrangement that facilitates exchange of goods and services between buyers and sellers. It can be physical, it can be conceptual. A market needn't be a physical place. So when we're dealing with a market structure, we're going to look at components to do with the number of buyers and sellers, the demand and supply, the price mechanism, the competition. So I'll start with the perfect competition. Who would want to tell us about the perfect competition? What are the characteristics of perfect competition?
They have homogeneous products.
Okay. The products are homogeneous. Can you break
No
down
barrier.
what does homogeneous mean?
They sell similar products.
They sell similar products, correct? What other characteristics do we have?
No barriers to entry or exit.
No barriers to entry or exit. The others,
Are they not price takers as well? They do not set prices.
they're price takers, correct? They move around the prevailing prices that are there. What other characteristics are there? Continue.
Low government intervention.
Okay. Low or no government intervention.
They are interdependent to each other.
No, they are not interdependent to each other. Only oligopoly is interdependent. So for perfect competition, there is no firm that has power to influence the market. They have no market power. They have significant barriers to entry. They are independent. They are not interdependent. So the actions of one firm have no impact on the other. In terms of elasticity, they are perfectly elastic. It's very sensitive. Information here is very perfect. The government intervention is very minimal or no government intervention. The demand curve is horizontal. It looks something like this. The price is equal to the average revenue, which is same as what? Marginal revenue. Okay. So in a perfectly competitive market, in the short run, our average total cost and marginal cost curves are U-shaped like this. This is average total cost. Then the Nike here is a marginal cost. Profit is maximized when marginal revenue is equal to what? Marginal cost. So this here is called our economic profit or the normal profits. So this is in the short run. In the long run, the total costs start increasing. but increasing until they meet the marginal revenue. So this is called our shutdown point. You need to stop selling at this point. Otherwise, you end up making economic losses. When your costs exceed the marginal revenue, you have something like this in the long run. So meaning you're going to have an economic loss, which is this side here. So marginal revenue means marginal cost when we maximize profits in all the markets. Except that in this case, our price is the same as the marginal revenue. So the price to maximize our profit is equal to the marginal cost. All right, let's go to another market.
Mr. Collins, sorry to interrupt. Can you kindly remind me on the there's this concept that says that in the long run of one of the market structures, I think you spoke about shutdown. I can't remember it quietly, but it states there's a concept, and I think it came also on the multiple choice.
I think you're talking about production, where there are factors of production that are fixed and others become variable in the long run. I know the question you're talking about. So that is underproduction, which are
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay.
yeah. All right, so let's go to another market. Can somebody tell me about a monopoly? Monopoly. Somebody tell me about a monopoly.
It's high market power.
Entry is difficult.
The heavy barriers to entry, correct?
They are
The price setters, correct?
Unique products. Is it heterogeneous? Not heterogeneous, but unique products.
Yes, unique products, correct. So these guys have what we call so see the characteristics. So they have significant power to influence the market. So that's why they are price setters. They are heavy or high barriers to entry, which will prevent the new markets or new firms from entering the market because of economies of power, economies of scale, control over raw materials. So they are not interdependent. They lack interdependence because it's just one producer. In terms of elasticity, it is relatively inelastic to demand because you are the single product. People just complain, but we still buy. Information here is imperfect. Government intervention here is more likely to come in due to the fact that it's a dominant firm. So they'll need to control a few things. The demand curve is downsloping since they are price setter. So it looks like this here. With the demand curve, we have our marginal revenue, which is half of our revenue. And we have our U cap of the average total cost. Then half of the average total cost is a marginal cost, which cuts half marginal cost. So where marginal cost means the average cost here, you draw a line downward, up. Then we have what? Triangle here. It's called our abnormal profits, A, B, C, and D. The price or the MC or the MR on this quadrant, and the quantity is here. All right, so this is about a monopoly. A monopoly. The best example we should have is this. That is a monopoly that we have in our cycles. All right, so we go to another market structure, which is called the monopolist. Monopolist is not the same as monopoly, they're different things. So a monopolist is limited market power, but has differentiated goods, which we call heterogeneous. It has relatively low barriers to entry because of product differentiation. The firms are interdependent due to product differentiation. The capacity is relatively in between due to close substitutes. There's imperfect information due to product differentiation. The government intervention is less compared to the monopolies, and the demand curve is just the same as the one in the previous case we were looking at. Monopoly, so they have similar functions here. So marginal cost, average total cost. Okay. Then we go to our monopoly and oligopoly. Oligopoly is a market structure that is with the following characteristics. Oligopoly, we are looking at firms that form a cartel. They have significant power in the market, heavy barriers to entry. They are highly interdependent due to the small number of competitors. Demand is relatively inelastic and also elastic at some point because there's a kinked demand curve, which looks like this. So this is our demand. This is our marginal revenue. And this is our marginal revenue gap. So the government intervention here may occur to prevent collusion or anti-competitive behavior. The demand curve has a kinked curve representing the reactions of a firm with interdependence. Okay. Now, what is the implication of the kink in an oligopoly? What happened that the kink, since we said this are interdependent. So an oligopolistic market structure, we have small or few firms that dominate the market. They dominate this market as a market leader. For instance, Nigeria, an oil producing country which may dictate how much the leading prices must be. So that kinked model that we are looking at, we need to understand how interdependence really works in their strategic decision making. So at that kink, there's what we have, which is called price rigidity. So in the kink model, it suggests that firms here will be inclined to maintain a certain stable price, resulting in price rigidity within the market. So even in the face of changes in costs, these ones will be rigid with the price. There's also uncertainty of output. So due to the existence of this kink, firms will also experience some uncertainty in determining the optimal level of output. So as a result, we discover that the firms will most likely maintain their current levels of production rather than making significant changes. At the kink, there's what we call non-price competition. So with price stabilization amongst the competitors, the firms in the oligopoly will be compelled to engage in non-price competition. Okay. So now let me So here at the kink, since these are interdependent decisions, so what happens is if a firm decides to charge lower than them, they'll go below that price. For instance, if the upper limit is 5, the lower limit is maybe 2. So we agreed to sell at 3, and you're selling at 4. They'll leave you because they're not agreeing. If you will go to sell at 3 and we agreed at 4, they'll go below you and sell at 2, so that they put you off the market. So this is what happens at the kink. So the kink allows for these rigidities in price and output. In this market, there's what we call game theory. Who understands the game theory and the prisoner's dilemma and how it works? So since the firms in this market will need to interact with decisions that are interdependent, there are a few implications that include economics, politics, psychology, among others that will need to be downplayed. Now, there's a concept which we call the prisoner's dilemma. Now, prisoner's dilemma is a classic example in this theory called the game theory. It demonstrates how rational individuals can be when it comes to cooperating and not cooperating in the interest of doing business. So this scenario involves 2 suspects who were arrested and they were held in separate prison cells. So before I show you how the exam questions would come, I just want you to know the storyline behind. So prisoner's dilemma has a story behind that has been adopted by most people who undertake this market strategy as their own. So let me just narrate this for you. So like I said, it involves 2 prisoners. Now these 2 prisoners are arrested in separate cells with the option of either cooperating with each other or remaining silent to betray the other or confessing. So the outcomes of any of these are as follows. Number 1, they could both remain silent if they are best friends, of course, so that they receive a moderate punishment. Or if one remains silent whilst the other confesses, the one who confesses will receive a minimal sentence whilst the other one will receive the most severe sentence. But in the instance that both of them confess, they will also be dealt with moderately, not very severe. So prisoner's dilemma gives a demonstration of what happens when firms cooperate in the best interest of the overall outcome, and also what happens when one of the firms decides to betray the other to obtain their best individual outcome. Whereas the other one gives you an outcome regardless of the other one's choice. So this scenario is what gives us a game prisoner's dilemma. So now how does dilemma come? So the dilemma has implications in various life situations in business, for instance, where there's a conflict between you cooperating with your competitor for self-interest, or you cooperating with the competitor for corporate interests, or you adopting a self-interest strategy that will give you a better outcome. So this comes about with trust, communication, and establishment of credible cooperation. So game theory is a real concept in business that requires us to have critical analysis. So I'll show you a typical example of how questions with this scenario will look like. So we have this. So to start with, I would want you to answer part 1 before I answer part B. Maggie and your friends, let's answer part 1.
No barriers to entry
For what now?
for perfect competitive.
Yeah, there's at least I want some those that haven't spoken come in.
Um,
Come on, I'm just from explaining all these.
Yes. Monopolistic competitive. It also has got no government intervention. Or should I just be saying what I've and then make comparisons, or I can make them different?
Yes, you can read whatever you have or elaborate. I know I've already discussed these answers, but the interaction will help in it may come out different from somebody else. So please, let's interact. I only have 10 minutes to finish up the last part.
The distinctions between perfectly competitive market and monopolistic market. When we look at the perfect competition, we start with the pricing. These are price takers, whilst in the in the monopolistic, these people, they have the market power. When we look at the products that they have, these guys, the ones, the monopolistic, they have limited market power with differentiated products, whilst in the perfectly competitive market, they sell homogeneous products. Their products are the same, but they're just different. Maybe I can put it like that. In the perfect competition, government does not intervene in whatever they do. I think even in this monopolistic, I don't think government also intervenes. And the entry to this market, the monopolistic, they have a low barriers to entry. Whilst in the perfect competitive market, there are no barriers. There are no heavy barriers for people to enter. Their information in the perfect competitive market is perfect, whilst in the monopolistic, information is not perfect. It is only known to the people that are in that business.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful for your participation. So, perfect competition, like has been said, there are a number of firms, many small firms exist, each one producing a negligible or small portion of the total output. There's product there's no product differentiation because the goods are homogeneous, they're the same. Consumers cannot perceive the difference between this tomato and the other tomato because they're the same. Free entry and exit. Anyone can enter the market or leave whenever they feel like. So here, firms are price takers because they take the price given. They do not influence the market at all. Efficiency occurs when the price is equal to what? A marginal cost. Remember, this is a maximization point. I said this is because that the price is the marginal revenue. So for this market specifically, we understand that the firm must maximize when the price is equal to the marginal cost. Please, I plead. Don't leave an exam without what? A curve. Then sure to say the curve that we have here is as follows. Our function, it has a horizontal demand curve. It comes out like that. All right. So this is the price, which is equal to the marginal revenue, which is actually equal to the what? The demand. So this is the demand itself. Please remember this. All right. Then I also mentioned to say when we go to a monopolist, what happens? We have the following characteristics. So number one, for a monopolist, there are many small firms. There's product differentiation, firms selling similar but not identical commodities. So there's no product differentiation. Which market are we looking at? This is a monopolistic. So the firms have what? Differentiated goods. Entry and exit is relatively low. Firms have, to some extent, some degree of influence over pricing because of product differentiation. So they face a downward curve, but they are not pure price makers. They have some power because of the packaging. In terms of efficiency, it leads to less allocative and productive efficiency. So how does the curve look like? I said it looks like what? The demand curve, the monopoly. So if you're not careful, or to remembering what I wrote, you still get 4 marks. Just make sure that you draw it like this. Here, our marginal cost is half of the average revenue. Let's leave it like this. So it looks like that. Are you together? Please, this.
Yes, Mr. Collins, can you give an example of the companies, or I would say what type of business it is? I think this one I have a challenge on that.
The restaurants, okay, the restaurants, the supermarkets, they have differentiated. You have toothpaste here, or the food at different restaurants. Okay, here they produce this kind of, it is branded according to their own signature. Or Colgate, for instance, you have toothpaste. In Zambia, we think everything is Colgate, but it has been differentiated. So this is Aquafresh, this is Colgate, it is differentiated. Okay, restaurants, etc. These ones are the ones that package them differently. All right, so now we go to the main question that I've been waiting for the next 5 minutes. We want to look at, assume that there are two firms, A and B, with a constant average cost of 2 kwacha per unit. Two firms choose either to charge high price of 10 kwacha or low price of 5 kwacha, respectively. The total market demand is 10,000 and 18,000 units when both firms choose a high and low price, respectively, which is split squarely between firm A and B. However, when the two firms charge different prices, they all relatively are priced low with 13,000 and 2,000. So we need to draw a matrix for the two firms. So I said, prisoner's dilemma, we need to understand that the firms that are involved as follows. There's firm 1 and firm what? Firm 2. So number 1, we should understand that. So firm 1, we have options of high price and low price. We have, those are the options. So what are we told regarding the pricings? What are we told regarding the pricings? What are we told regarding the pricings? Okay, let me illustrate this for you to understand on a single page. Okay, those who got the pamphlet, you will find this in the pamphlet. Very important. I'll just beam it for you. Pamphlet. Okay, so we have firm A and firm B. So using the low pricing strategy, what are we told? We are told that if they choose to charge a low price, relatively, it will split it squarely. So low price firms will sell 13,000 or more units, and high pricing will sell 2,000 units. So the total market demand is what? 10,000, and we're told that the high price is 10 kwacha per unit, and the low price is 5 kwacha per unit. So we have this matrix or a quadrant that you need to understand very carefully. So you can choose to draw it in 4 squares, or for the sake of calculations, these are just the workings. So I have firm A with a high price and firm B with low price. So I only have less than a minute. I think I'll explain this in its own square matrix, just so that you understand how to come up with a matrix table. Okay, so let me leave it here for now. Then in the evening, I think we'll continue explaining it with a basic example before we go to this.